Welcome to show 12. And yeah, it's another week and more stuff just keeps happening with the club. So really the biggest news over the weekend was the announcement of our first ever home and away kit, and as well as charity partners. And so just to kind of explain how the process went in, as with everything, it's owner driven. So anyone that was an owner was given a chance to design the kit. And then once they got their designs in, it was one home and away kit per person that could be submitted. It then came down to last week, it was voting time. So email goes out, and that's everyone in the world whose owners, 10 different countries, can get involved. And then they've given the opportunity to choose whichever design they wanted. So it's 3 points to your favorite, two to your second, one to your third favorite, and lots of designs. So thank you if you listen to this, an owner that submitted. Thank you so much for doing that. So we've got a home and away kit now, and as well, we're selling sponsorship onto our kits. So if you're out there thinking, hey, I would love to be involved in this, love to help out, then in the description, there's a link to our website, link to all of our sponsorship stuff. Please, please, please get involved. There's lots of packages, everything ranging from the right at the top at 2.5 grand for the year to there's stuff that's £50 for the year. So a really broad range depending on whatever size of business and individual you are. And what we wanted to do is we could sell sponsorship everywhere, but that's not who we want to be. We're a community club, we're fan owned. So one of the sleeves on the kit will always be a charity. And it's not just we on the committee decide the charities, it's not how we run as a club. So in the same way we were designing the kits, all of our owners were given the opportunity to nominate a charity. And there was 5 that got nominated. One charity was nominated several times, and surprise, surprise, that's the one that won. So the plans to have St Luke's Hospice onto the home kit, and then Prostate Cancer UK onto the away kit. We've written to each of those charities over the weekend because we wanted to allow the vote to take place before we wrote to the successful charities. And to the 3 others, we're going to announce later today. We're going to keep them all as charity partners because they're all good charities that do great work. And a lot of what a charity needs isn't just, hey, we'll raise £100 for you or something like that. It's awareness, especially stuff like prostate cancer. It's the awareness that you need to check. You need everything there. Just be aware of lots of illnesses because a lot of stuff people just don't know that support and stuff there. Like Mates in Mind's another example, is supporting people that are in need, and quite often people know they've got a problem, they don't know who to speak to and to get help. So that's something that we want to do and be really, really supportive of. So there'll be points in the season where we're fundraising for them rather than just for us as a club, but it's also awareness, and that's why we want to put them onto our kit, as well as all the great businesses that are sponsoring and booking them up already. So if you're keen to sponsor us, get in touch, because it's not just businesses want on there. We're going to have a charity on each kit, and it's something we believe passionately about. And next time we do a kit in the future, the owners will design it again. The owners will then decide which charities they want on it, and it could easily be one where the same charity again. There is nothing wrong with that, but it's one that the owners will always get that decision on it, because we believe that's the best way to do it. It's an owner-led club, and your vote is as equal to my vote as chairman. So no difference in there. We have the equal say in how the club's run, which is really exciting, and it is great. It's the breath of transparency and openness. So yeah, that's the big news this week. Next month, the designs are going to be the 2 goalie kits. The reason why we wanted to wait is because if it was a blue goalkeeper kit and a blue home kit, and a blue away kit, then we've got a problem. We have to reject one of them, even though they were both the most popular. It's better to design the outfield kits, and then we'll go, hey, we just need a goalie top to match. Can't do dark colors again, and obviously can't have colors that clash across. So blue will be rolled out for the home goalkeeper kit, just because that would clash with the other one, because obviously there's a chance that we're away and our away goalkeeper kit clashes with their home kit. So you've got to have the choice of the 2. So both of those designs will go out there to owners to design. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm not an owner yet, but I actually want to send in a design, become an owner. So it costs you as little as £5. to become an owner. So that's something you certainly do. And don't worry where you are in the world. We're 13 owners now in the US. In 10 different countries, we've got owners, really spreading out broad across the world, across the UK. It's not just in sort of Thurrock and the surrounding area where we've got owners, lots and lots of people. And thank you to all those that have become owners. So, yeah, a really, really exciting time for the club. And there's also going to be a contest as well. Our new home ground, a World Crest, they've offered to build a big board outside the ground, similar to if you ever went down Rookery Hill, where East Thurrock United was. There's a big board out there. So there's going to be a contest amongst fan owners to design that board. Details will be in the email tomorrow, but that's 8x6 off the top of my head. So that's one that we're going to get that built. They're going to sort that out, but they've asked for us to design that. So it's one of get your designs in. We'll then vote on that and we'll decide what we want to go on that board. But it's a great way to really sell us as a club and let people know that's our home ground. That's where the home of our club is. And they've been great already. So hopefully the last bits of the paperwork will get signed and drawn up in the next week or so. And then it's application into the league and the ball's all rolling. So really, really exciting time. So what we've got now is an interview I did earlier this week with Shaun, who's our treasurer. And that's all about this continual series of chatting to people on the committee. What's your role? What does that look like? What help do we need? There's a section in that about needing grant funding. Since we recorded that, we've got someone come on board and volunteered for that role. So really, really good news there. So that's not needed. So now we're speaking to Shaun, as we've been doing the last few weeks. We're just going through each member of the committee and just chatting about sort of what they do, what's entailed in the area, just to give you a bit more insight about the club, really. So we've got Shaun here to chat about what it's like being the treasurer of East Thurrock Community Football Club. But you never thought you'd be a treasurer of a football club.
No, I think I can safely say absolutely not. It's been a bit of a whirlwind so far, but actually really, really enjoying it. It's probably not on the face of it as blockbuster as a couple of roles we've heard about in the last few shows, but actually I think it's a really important sort of part of the team. So very ably assisted as well by Michael Edwards, who has lots of experience in the accounting area. So that's really helped as well. So what I've done is I've kind of broken the role down into sort of four areas that really are our kind of key focuses. So the first one is budget. So we're very aware that in the early years of the club, it's really important that we set ourselves up with very solid foundations for moving forward. We don't want this to be a club that is one season and done. This is being built for generations to come. So part of that responsibility is making sure that we've got a budget that is sustainable. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we're doing things on the cheap. What it means is that we are very, very prudent. And as a team and as a committee, every penny that goes out is scrutinized and that we can be comfortable that we're spending it on the right things for the club. So Michael and myself, we will build the year one budget. We're fully aware that probably in the first year we're going to get lots of stuff come out that we have to pay for that we weren't aware of. We build that into year two and beyond, and we learn from that. But actually, I think we're in a really healthy position in terms of money in so far. And I think we're setting ourselves up really, really well. So that's kind of part one of what we do. And then really part two is the day-to-day spending and management of those accounts. So making sure that we're paying our bills when we need to, making sure that when, an example, Jono comes to me and says, I need to buy footballs and I need to get them today because we can get a really good deal, making sure we're able to do that and release that money. And making sure that, everything is receipted, invoiced as it should be. So when we're getting money in through sponsorship and everything, there's a really clear audit of everything that's going in and out of the accounts. That's a really important part of what we do as well. And
Yeah,
kind of off the back, yeah.
I was just going to jump in a bit on that to give people insight. We're super transparent. which you will not find another football club that has a better level of transparency, I think, than what we're doing with our finances. So we send a weekly email to our owners with like, hey, we spent £180 roughly off the top of my head on footballs.
Mm.
And that just goes straight out to our owners next Thursday, every Tuesday. And it's like, hey, we've spent this much money on some footballs. Um, we're giving that level of insight because that's what we think's best. It gives that transparency, confidence, knowing where we're at. And then each year we do our financial year, it runs until the end of May.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and then we'll release our sort of accounts for what came in and out through the year. So everyone will be able to see that listed on our website. And it just gives that confidence
Mm.
year on year we can keep growing because as we go up the leagues, there's teams spending like 120 grand on their playing budget. I'm not saying we can't get there, but that's awareness of what's coming down the line. And it's building really, really stable foundations year one because you don't want to sort of build something for a club and 2 years down the line it's like tear everything up, this doesn't scale, it's not designed to grow. And we're putting those stuff in place now. Obviously, hey, we'll add a bit more fancy version of accounting software we might pay for down the line, but it's still going to be fundamentally the same stuff. So it's something we're doing across the whole club, from accounting through to how we deal with memberships. Our What's in our mind is how are we going to operate in 2 years' time. If it's not going to cost dramatically more to do that now, put that in place year one. But no, really, really impressed with how professional everything's done.
Absolutely. And then people might think actually it's going over the top when we list each and everything that we're spending. But as to your point, we just want to be completely transparent. We don't want anything behind closed doors. It's one of the key reasons that we're trying to push as much digital as we possibly can, so that we have a really, really clear audit. And actually with the accounts, technically we don't have to publish until the end of a full season with the FSA, but we've taken a decision that actually, even for this part year, from now up until the end of May, even though we won't lodge that with the FSA, we will still publish that on our website, and that's available to everybody. It's not even just an owners. You can see those accounts. So that's really, really important to what we're doing. Um, and then Jack, you sort of touched on the future. I mean, what we would like to do is in these early years, we fully recognise that the costs are going to be on the lower end of compared to when we look forward to the future. So we have an opportunity now to start planning ahead. So we know when we get into things like the furlough none, there will be requirements to start paying players, and just charges in general, fees in general are going to go up. So what we're trying to do, if we possibly can, is to get into a position where we're effectively a season ahead, so that when we do get to those points in time, we're not starting with zero. So we're not going into game one thinking, God, I hope we get a good crowd so we can fund these players. Actually, we've already got money aside. That means that when we start to get money in through the gate, we're topping up funds and we're almost planning for the season ahead of that rather than the season that we're playing. And I think by doing that, it just takes a lot of pressure off and it just puts us on a much more stable ground. And also, I mean, Jack, we've been talking about that money that we get in, making it work for us by putting it through savings accounts, earning interest on that, because we really do feel the responsibility of having people's money. People are invested into what we're doing as a club. They believed in us, they've entrusted us, and that's something we take incredibly seriously. So we want to make sure that people's investment from the owners works as hard as it possibly can, as well as money in from sponsors. You know, people are entrusting us with their sponsorship as well. We want to make sure that they're getting value and that we're showing as a club progression through using that money. So it's a role that we take really, really seriously. I say we're aided by Michael, who is an accountant, so he's got lots of experience. Couldn't do it without him. Um, and if I may just plug as well, Jack, we are on the lookout for someone that can come in and just help with grant funding. I think Jono mentioned it in the last one as well, but someone that can come in and just help us look at what we might be entitled to in terms of grant funding, even if it's not for this next season going forward. We certainly want to make sure that we're unlocking anything that we might be entitled to. Um, you know, as a voluntary role, we would work around your availability. There's no sort of set hours, anything that you can do in your spare time. to help with that would be really, really appreciated. So um, if you do want to put yourself forward, you can email us at our email address, so eastthurrockcfc@gmail.com, and we will get back to you. So if I can just put that in there as a bit of a shameless plug as well. But I think in a nutshell, really, that's the role that I'm doing in Treasury, which is really good actually for me because I'd never done anything like this before. And it's taking a lot of research and speaking to other non-league clubs and treasurers at other clubs. But yeah, I think we're in a good place. So
No, it's exactly that, and it's a perfect explanation for everything voluntary within the club. So whichever area of the team you're volunteering offering, it's very much any help we can get is greatly appreciated. The grant funding is a perfect example of you can do a bit and then you could go quiet for 2 weeks and then you could sort of, hey, you're chatting to someone, they're like, oh, did you know there's this grant funding available? And it's just like asking other questions, other clubs. So it's stuff you can pick up and put down. It's not one, obviously, if you're on the core committee, there's expectations every week. This needs doing, that needs doing. Whereas once you take a role, anything around that, very much more anything you can give, greatly appreciated. And if two people email us and say, hey, we'll help out, that's even better. It just splits that workload again and it's people bouncing ideas off each other. So no, we're in a really good spot where people can help out. And as you said, with the finances, it's the joy of being a 100% fan-owned club and having owners is there's sort of a safe income stream year to year. A lot of these non-league clubs that you see getting in financial trouble, it's because they rely on one backer who might give them, say, 10, 15, 20K a year. And then for 1 year, maybe their business or personal circumstances change and they go, actually, I can't give that money that year. And then sometimes mid-season, it all just stops. And then they have to get rid of all their players, drop down leagues. We've got a model that allows us, we're not relying on that donor to bankroll the team. We've got a collection of owners that are putting a little bit in, but those little bits add up really, really quickly. And that means we can set these budgets and say, hey, we're just going to keep growing. And we can speak with confidence and go, look, if we've got 30 grand in the bank account going into the furlough num, we might say that's the budget. And then we're going to go and add 35, 40 grand across the season. That sets the budget for next year and allows us to continually grow because we'll naturally get more sponsors, naturally get more owners as people come on board. And it's just that constant growth. And when we start winning, more people will come, more donations, more people paying on the gate once we get to that level. But it's free football to begin with. So we'll be shaking that bucket, asking for a little bit, or tap the card machines based on, hey, I know I regularly walk around with no cash in my pocket. It just, anything you can spare, all genuinely massively helps out.
and I think it's back to the ownership thing. It's your club as an owner. So when the club succeeds, you're not just a supporter. It's your club, and I think that means a lot as well. So yeah, I think it's exciting.
Oh, so tell all your friends and family.
Mm.
Just as either send them this recording, send them any of the like YouTube podcasts we've done, the business plan, anything about the club. The more owners we get, the quicker we can go up the leagues, and it just means so so much. And thank you for everyone that's become a part of it. The numbers have been crazy. But no, thank you very much for joining me, Shaun. We'll find out. I don't know genuinely who on the committee is going to be next. So as the week goes ahead, I'll drop some messages to the team and I'll find out who's joining us. So thanks a
Brilliant.
lot. And as always,
Thanks, Jack.
go Rocks.